Okay, welcome everyone. Welcome to today's session. Um, we will be doing. We'll be wrapping up from where we stopped the last time. During the last session, we were able to explore some of the sections. Sorry, everyone, just a moment. Let me reset something here. Just a minute. All right, welcome back, everyone. So we are ready for today's session. Last week we explored some of the life domains as part of the manual, as part of the reset manual. We took some inspiration from John and Missy Butcher's life book, where they broke down planning for or the categories, as they call it, of every person's life into 12 categories. So in building this manual, we took some inspiration from that. And so in the manual, for those of us who are joining us for the first time, or if you're watching this video for the first time, you would need to go and watch the session before this. And you would see the instructions for getting the manual for free on our Telegram community. But if you already have the manual is broken down into sections, and you will see that in resetting for the next phase of your life, whether it be you planning for a new year, you planning for new seasons, or you planning for um, a new phase, you will see that in that manual, we split it into sections. So you will see a section for resetting for your finances. You see a section for resetting for your love relationship, resetting for your social life, resetting for your physical health, resetting for what are the other sections? Resetting for parenting, resetting for there are different sections there. And so last week we were able to go into some of these sections. But in that last week's session, we started on the place of identity. We started on the place of sharing, trying to find out what values you want to live by for the next phase or next season of your life. So at the very beginning of the manual, the very first set of activities or resets you do, the very first set of questions you attend to in the manual are questions relating to value and identity. And in that session, we talked about making affirmations. Making affirmations. We asked that everyone who has the manual, take time to find 3 affirmations. It could be quotes by popular people or quotes that inspire you, that connect very deeply with you and inspire you to be the very best of yourself. Right. So we shared a few examples last week. And it is my hope, before we go into the session for today, that some of us will be able to give feedback regarding that. Were you able to feel that section of your manual? Were you able to find inspirations and quotes that connect with you on a deep level, quotes that help you to aspire to be the best, the very, very, very best you can be. I give one example. I think I gave two examples of mine the last week. So this week, I would like to hear from us. I would like to know from us, or if you're watching this video for the very first time, you can share in the comment section what those affirmations are for you, what those quotes are for you, and why they connect very deeply with you. So welcome once again for those of us who are joining for the first time, and for those who are watching this for the very first time today. I can see I have someone in the studio with me today. If you're live now, you can just go to the comment section and let me know where you're signing in from, your name, and where you're signing in from. We'll give a couple minutes for others to join in. This is 6 minutes past the time we are starting, and we'll be starting the practical hands-on session exactly at 10 minutes past the time. We'll be starting in 4 minutes. So just settle down, relax yourself. If you're watching this video for the very first time, take this time also to relax yourself. Get a worksheet, get a piece of paper or a sheet, a book, whatever it is that you want to use for this session. Get it ready and use this time to find a quiet place without distractions for you to walk through this session. We're going to go very hands-on today. So I'll just give us a minute or two to settle in while I get ready myself for it. So see you soon. Okay, welcome back, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. If you're joining us now, just take a time to share with us. Tell us your name and where you're signing from. Would like to know which of our community members are here with us today. And we would love to welcome you, especially to acknowledge your presence. Thank you, everyone, for always showing up for these sessions. And like we said last week, for 2023, we are going to be doing a lot of workshops and a lot of hands-on practical sessions, community sessions like this. Of course, every now and then, or on an ongoing basis, actually, we would have sessions that are teaching sessions or like seminar sessions and all of that. But we're going to have more hands-on workshop experiences like this from January of next year. So this is this reset session is also a reset for us for experience shape the entire team and our community. So we're going to be having more and more of hands-on sessions like this, or would have things like worksheets that would use to work. And not, of course, not all of them are going to be as long as this. I think the reset manual, this particular session, the manual is about 25 pages. Yeah, because it's that detailed. And like I said last week, that is not even all of it. We're going to have an updated version of the reset manual probably sometime within next year. That would help break down some of the sections, break them down to more practical questions also that can help you dive even deeper, because we observed that some of the questions require you to come into a workshop like this and understand the nuances of the questions. So in the updated version, we are going to be doing more, we're going to be having more broken down questions, more deep level questions in the manual. But for other sessions we're going to be having more workshop hands-on sessions where the manuals are going to probably just be 2 or 3 page manuals, except it is necessary otherwise. That way, it is not a daunting task for you to have to walk through those practical sessions, those clarity sessions for those experiences. So welcome once again, everyone. I can see one person is in the live stream now. Please tell me your name and where you are signed in from. We are about to kick off this session right away. Who's with us today? Who's with us today? Who is with us today? All right, I'll do something in a moment. I think I'll just pull up the worksheet, and as a way of a reminder, I'm going to share some of what we had last week. Some of what we did last week, I'm going to be sharing that. So, okay. So this is part of what we did last week. Last week we had we started with an introduction. I'm just going to breeze through the early parts of the manual here because we did that already last week. But just as a reminder for those who may be watching this before they get the chance to watch the other video, this is what we did last week. Like I said at the beginning of this session, we started with we started from the place of gratitude. Actually, we had a gratitude session in the very first session of this, which was 3 weeks ago. About 3 weeks ago, yeah. We had the gratitude session where we took stock of the things we are grateful for in this year 2022. But last week we shed some more light on it, broke it down in the manual. What are you most grateful for? Who are you grateful for meeting? What opportunities are you grateful for having this year? Which skills are you grateful for learning? What new projects are you grateful for starting this year? What are you grateful for regarding your health? What things happened to you that you had not planned or foreseen, but you're grateful they did? What new experiences are you grateful for this past year? These are some of the questions to guide you to, itemize or document your gratitude. And then we went into the section where we asked what do you want on 2023. But to begin this session, we talked about first attending to the issue of being identity and reaffirmation before seeking to start setting goals. And so we asked us to take time to live the values you want to live by going forward. And like I mentioned earlier, in our subsequent versions of the updated version of the manual, we are going to actually, this particular question, we're going to break it down into some questions that could help you clarify values for yourself, what values mean to you, what they are for you and what values, how to pick your values that are important to you. And then after that, we went into affirmations and we asked that everyone take time to find 3 affirmations or quotes that connect very deeply with you, quotes that you can remind yourself on an ongoing basis to ground yourself. And I give an example of my own. One of my affirmations is the quote by Anne Marion Williamson. A lot of us know that quotes either from the movie Aquila and the Bee, or maybe from the movie Coach Carter, or maybe you've seen it somewhere. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It's a fuller quote where I wrote it down. I wrote the full quotes, where he said, "You're shrinking, you're playing small so that others will not be intimidated. Doesn't serve the world. You're meant to shine like children do." It's not in some of us, it's in all of us. And as you shine your light, as you give yourself permission to shine your light, you give permission to others, to also shine their light and be their best self. It's a very beautiful quote. I used to remind myself that I should shine my light to the world, and I shouldn't play small. Right. There are 2 other quotes. I gave another quote as an example in the last video. I'm not going to go into all of that in this session. Sorry. Now, this is where we really got hands-on. Last week, we started exploring the different domains, different life domains. And like I said, we took inspiration for that from John and Missy Butcher John and Missy Butcher in their life book, Coaching. In that particular exercise, they broke down the different areas of our life into 12 domains. They called it the 12 domains of life, 12 categories of life. You have physical health, you have social life, you have love relationship, you have finances, you have career, you have your life vision, you have parenting. About 12 of them. We had an earlier session in our community sessions where we actually explored those 12 sessions. For those who were in attendance, you remember we did something like that. Yeah, so in attending to your physical health and fitness, we asked what goals do you have for your physical health this year? Why do you want to achieve those goals? And last week we talked about the need for clarifying your why. If your why is clear enough, it gives momentum to go after that, especially when you encounter challenges and discouragements. If you have a big why, a big picture, a big vision, if you have a very grounded reason, motivation for pursuing that goal, it helps you to, instead of abandoning the goal, to seek alternative approaches or strategies to achieve that goal while still being on the path of your goal. So in every section of these, the why question was included because it's very integral. What resources would you need to accomplish these goals? Which experts or role models do you need to connect to facilitate your goals? And what communities and networks do you need to join to access these people? And then we talked about intellectual development, or we talked about skills, we talked about maybe the books you want to read, or the areas of your life you want to develop, and what courses or trainings or books or resources or videos or even movies, can help you achieve that or reach out to that. So I'll give another example with myself today. I don't think I shared this last week. So there's a long-term project or a medium-term project I'm working on. It's something that's one of my key goals from my life and where I'm working towards. And recently, sometime last month, I was walking through the things I need for that. And at some point, I found I had to start writing down movies I've seen or that I know I would need to include in the planning and actualization of that goal, because the lessons I learned from those movies are integral in achieving that goal. So I had to start documenting, writing out movies of Coach Carter, Facing the Giants, and all the movies relating to that. I'm saying this because I know I didn't say this last week. When we talk about, intellectual development and resources, oftentimes we often think only books, but a lot of people learn more from videos, from movies. It depends on what your goal is for the movie, and also movies are included here, documentaries are included here. I watch a lot of documentaries as much as I can. I enjoy watching documentaries. Documentaries are included. YouTube videos that could help you learn the skill or learn something that is integral for a goal you're pursuing are also very key and important in this. So these are all resources. These are all resources. Resources are not just books, courses, and trainings and all of that. So just to clarify that. And then we went into emotional life here. We talked about this. We spent some time on this last week. So if you're just joining us today, or if you're watching this video for the first time, you may want to go back to, that last week's video to catch up on all of this. The reason we decided to do the wrap up today was because we wanted to spend some time on the other aspects that we did not touch the last time. So before we proceed, I want to be sure that I still have us here, because right now as I'm speaking to us, I can only see my slides. So I want to stop the sharing for a moment and confirm that I have people here with me. Okay, I can see Utibe Delight David is here with us. Utibe, good to have you. We still have our call pending. We missed ourselves yesterday. Good to have you here with us, Utibe. We still have our call pending. Probably we'll find a way to do that by tomorrow. Ehinome Akid, we're watching from Port Harcourt. Oh, good to have you, Ehinome. Ehinome, do you stay in Port Harcourt, or you came into Port Harcourt this season? I thought you stay in Benin or Warri. Maybe I'm getting that wrong. Yeah, Faithful says is here with us. Good evening, Faithful. Good to have you. It's been a long time, Mom. Good evening. Good to have you. Good to have you. Good to have you. Welcome. I'm so excited to see us here. While I was speaking, I could only see my slides, so I had to stop sharing to be sure that we're here with me. So welcome everyone. Welcome. I can only see responses from David, Ehinome, and Faithful, who are the two other people with us today. I was trying to ensure I don't pick up the pace so fast or so quickly, just to give the chance for others to join in. And for those joining us for the first time today, you can get the resource, the reset manual, on our Telegram community. I'm just going to type that and put it on the screen and put it up on the screen so that you can copy that out, the link to join our Telegram community. Okay, okay, oh, beautiful. Because I know you've not been in Port Harcourt. You've not always been in Port Harcourt, and good to have you. Good to have you here with us. Incidentally, I've moved out of Port Harcourt by the time you came. All right, it's good to have you here with us. So I'm going to be sharing the link to our Telegram community. For those just joining us, that is where you can get a free copy of the, yes, that's where you can get a free copy of the manual. Yes, link to our Telegram community, t.me/shape community. All right, so good to have us. Akinyemi, good to have you. Thank you. Akinyemi is joining us from Mina, Niger State, Nigeria. Good to have us all. Grandma Lanya, good to have you. Always good to have you here. All right, welcome everyone. Today we are going to pick up from exploring our spiritual life. And okay, before I start sharing the slide, just a few things to touch on regarding spiritual life. And I want to share this because we live in a multicultural, multi-religious, and our community is multicultural, religious, and multinational. So in talking about spirituality, on a religious front, spirituality means different things to different people. And when we go into the deep issues of spirituality, the details would, of course, depend on what religions we subscribe to. So that's there is that macro or micro aspect to it, but on a macro level, talking about spirituality also goes into talking about the revitalization of our soul. Um, that touches on things like making room for spending time with ourselves to understand ourselves, sort of introspection. In the book Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl, he said something which I would paraphrase. He said something in the lines of finding at the deep core of yourself the identity to center yourself is key in helping, brave the storms and the challenges that would come at you in life. So when we talk about spirituality here on a macro level, it also touches on that, um, attending to your soul, attending to your identity, attending to your individuality. And why this is important is because we can get so caught up in doing and reaching out for things and goals and all of that. And especially depending on the nuances or the dynamics of what we are pursuing and the things surrounding that goal, we can get caught up and lost in trying to become the version of ourselves that we think is needed or is required or is expected by that space of that community so that we can be able to get into that. So what I mean is we can lose our identity in pursuit of a goal because of our perception of who we are expected to be in order to achieve that goal. But spirituality deals with being able to center ourselves on the grounds of identity, and from that place of identity operates, right? And if you peel the layers of that, you would also find that it has to do with making time to, on an ongoing basis, making time to listen to your own self. I remember some 6, 7 years ago, I remember I wrote a short article, more like a poem at the time, based on some of the thoughts that were predominant in my mind. And a part of the things I wrote was the fact that I listened so much. I remember one of the lines I wrote there was I said, I listened so much to other voices seeking to find myself in them. But I found I kept being lost until I sat down to listen to my own voice, to hear my own cry, to understand my own need. And that also can reflect what sometimes we get into when we are busy pursuing or seeking, to reinvent ourselves to suit a certain space or certain the perceptions of certain people because of the things we want to achieve or the things we want to get, the goals we want to pursue, and we can often lose ourselves. So making time to listen to our voice, making time to listen to ourselves, getting comfortable with ourselves. And I say that very cautiously because sometimes that can be misunderstood. What I mean by getting comfortable with ourselves is oftentimes one of the reasons why, and for people who lean more towards the sanguine temperament and who are more extroverted with people, we sometimes one of the reasons why some people tend to seek every opportunity to just go and be with other people is because being by yourself all alone, undistracted by any devices, any platforms or anything, has a way of forcing you to think about life and think about yourself. In his book He Motions, Bishop T.D. Jakes talks about a, a, a one-time popular minister in the US, Jim Baker, I think so, who had some crisis that led to him being in prison. And at the time, a lot of people deserted him and all of that. And at the time, it was Billy Graham who visited him in the prison cell to speak with him and share some time with him and all of that. And there was something Bishop T.D. Jakes wrote in that book that caught me. He said, because when a man is locked to himself, and in talking about a man, he's being generic there, men and women, when a human is locked up by himself, stripped of all his achievements, all his attainments, all his possessions and acquisitions, and just kept to himself. No matter how much he has run away from himself, he is forced to sit down, evaluate his own life, think about himself, and get comfortable with his own company, however unpleasant his company is. Now, that speaks also to a sort of spiritual retreat, as it were. I give all these examples so that we understand the context of our spiritual life here. And one of the reasons I'm taking time to explain this is because in this version of the manual, like I said, I don't know how or when at what point we joined the live stream, but in this version of the manual, I mean, after last week, we took some time to go through, we realized there are quite some. We're going to have another session, another reset session. Maybe at the end of the first quarter of next year, we'll do another reset, if that's one okay with us, right? And before then, we're going to have some upgrades on this. In this version of the reset manual, we didn't go into all of that details because we wanted to have this workshop session with us so that we can have these conversations and it can help you clarify some of the questions. But we found out that it would be necessary to create more subsections under the different sections of the manual where some of these questions are asked to help you, to make it a worksheet that you can pick up even if you're not in the workshop or in the session, and you can go through it and pretty much be able to do your research also by yourself. By the time we're done with all of that, of course, we're going to set these things up as resources on our platform. So yeah, having said that, let me pull up the manual. Let's explore some of the questions for the spirituality aspect of the manual. Boladeyaba, good to have you. I saw you coming. Good to have you. I was speaking at the time, so I just didn't want to interrupt myself at the time. So good to have you. Welcome to today's session. So let me just quickly pull up the sheet again. Yeah, there we have it. So yeah, spiritual growth. We didn't do this last week, so we're going to just go into this. Now, the aspects of spiritual growth we touched on here, like I said, we didn't go into all of the details. So we just asked, in what ways would you like to grow spiritually this year? And that's why I took some time to flesh it out for us, right? In what ways would you, now, depending on what religious affiliations we belong to or you belong to, if you're watching this after this session, your spiritual growth, the specifics and details of it may vastly differ from another person. But at the core of the spirituality of every person is that we want to be able to connect to a source a supernatural source of inspiration that refuels our soul, that refuels our identity, that refuels our self-image, as it were. And for the Christian, it would mean building a stronger relationship with your God. For the Muslim, it would mean building a stronger relationship with Allah, and the dynamics of it may differ depending on your religious affiliations. However, what doesn't change is the fact that you are trying to make a plan and make time for attending to you, to your spirit man, if that's what you call it, to attend to your soul, to attend to the core of you, the foundation of your being, the center of your being. You're trying to find the voice and expression of your authentic self that has not been, stripped of all of the perceptions of people about you, all the expectations of people about you, who are you at the core. And in a sense, I feel like for those who may also struggle, at the beginning of the manual where we talked about values, for those who may also be struggle with clarifying that, if you are able to clarify your spiritual, the spiritual aspect of your reset manual, that could go a long way in helping you clarify your values. But for this section, it's not about clarifying now, it's about then setting goals, right? Having clarified that, what are your goals? Do you feel like you need to spend more time meditating, spend more time connecting with your source, the spiritual source? Do you think that you need to spend more, build a more solid relationship, communion with your God, with your with your God? I think I can use your God, right? And what would it take to be able to build that relationship, to solidify that relationship? Why do you want, again, like I said, in every section, we include the why question because it's important. Why is it important for you to strengthen your spiritual growth? For me, for example, why feeling this, it was an easy answer for me. Why do I want to grow spiritually or strengthen my spiritual growth? It's because for me, the issue of identity for me is deeply grounded on my spirituality, and like I explained to us. And so I know that I personally believe that the source of my inspiration, the source of my strength, the source of my life is God. And for that reason, I believe strongly in his guidance and direction for my life. And so for me, the spiritual aspect of my life is very key and important. If it's sure and firm and solid, every other aspect of my life will be taken care of. That's what I believe. And so this is, for me, the why for me in this area is that if this place is suffering, every other thing I'm doing would very much suffer. And that is why it is important to me. For you, the why may be different, but you need to clarify the why. Again, like I said, if the motivation, if the reason, if the why is solid enough, if you encounter challenges towards the goal, you won't yield or bow to the temptation of abandoning the goal because your why is strong enough. So instead of abandoning the goal, you'll find alternative approaches to still achieve the goal. So what resources would you need to accomplish this goal? Which mentors or role models you need to connect with to facilitate this goal? And what communities or networks do you need to join to access these people? Again, some of these questions are pretty much the same format we use for every aspect of the manual, for every section of the manual. Did you touch on love relationship last week? I don't think we did. But for here, I think we touched on it last week. Yeah, we said this section is mostly for married people or for those who are in a committed love relationship. So if you don't have a committed love relationship, you're not compelled to feel this. Because the context of this is in a committed love relationship. So but if you want to feel it as a futuristic thing, then fine and good. You can also do that. Describe your ideal love relationship with your partner. What does it, when you think about a beautiful love relationship, what does it look like to you? You can briefly describe that here. And having a clear picture of that can then help you filter or distill what components make up that ideal love relationship, what is required to experience that. So that is what follows up in the next question. What values or attitudes would you love to experience more in your love relationship? For those who are not yet in one and you still want to fill this section, you want to ask, what values or attitudes will it require to experience this ideal love relationship that you want to have with your partner when they come? And what can you do more to keep the spark alive? Now, one thing you also want to ask here is, in describing your ideal love relationship with your partner, it's important to ask yourself, who do I want to be in this ideal love relationship? And by who do I want to be, I don't mean I want to be the husband, I want to be the boyfriend. No, who do I want to be to this partner? Do I want to be a safe space? Do I want to be a confidant? Do I want to be a best friend? Do I want to be a helper? Do I want to be a support, a solid support, emotional support, and all of that? Clarifying that would also help you then ask the values or attitudes that will help you experience or be that person. What would they require for me to be that person? Do I need to build on my communication skills? Do I need to build on my empathy? Do I need to build on, do I need to understand what her love language is and how to be able to speak her love language to her? Do I need to understand what her apology language is and how to be able to speak that to her? Do I need to understand this person at a much deeper level? Are there habits and attitudes I have that may conflict with this ideal of relationship I want? Is there something I need to drop? Is there something I need to modify? Is there something I need to build on more? Some of those things. Just there, like I said in the last week's session, as you go through this manual, it is inevitable that in filling them, you also, in some of the sections, may have some more questions that you will come up by yourself, come up with by yourself for any of the sections, and that's perfectly okay. This is not an exhaustive list of questions, but they are very key critical questions that can help you unravel more questions and end up with the same questions are the answers. Questions are the answers. In other words, once you're able to clarify the questions, it's then easy to know how to go about the answers. So the more questions that come up in your personal time of doing your research, the more beautiful it is. It means that you're finding more answers in your sessions, and that is absolutely beautiful. That is absolutely okay. What skills then could you be lacking that could help you sustain a healthy love relationship? Again, what questions to help you clarify? What resources could you need to help you acquire these skills? Do you need to enroll for marriage or relationship coaching, counseling, mentoring, training, whatever it is you need to enroll? And I just want to put it out there now, in our community, we have a deep pool of community members who provide very valuable, trainings, coachings, mentoring, and all of that for some of these different aspects of our life. So if in the course of filling any of these, you find that for any of the areas or sections, you would need some sort of training, some sort of coaching, you can reach out to us and we can connect you to the people if we have the people who can help you in those areas. You can reach out to us. You can reach out in the community Telegram group. We have both a group and a channel. From the channel, you can actually pretty much get into the group and type a question or drop a concern or say something. So if you need to reach out for assistance or help in any of these areas, feel free to through the Telegram channel, drop a message to us, and we'll be able to help you connect you with those persons who are needed for these areas. And yeah, parenting. Okay, yeah. So I'm not too sure if we touched on parenting last week. Did we? So let me not run too fast. Before we go on again, let me get back to us so that I don't feel like I'm speaking to myself. Shalom Amber, welcome. Good to have you. You're signing in from Lagos. It's so beautiful to see us join us today. New persons, welcome to the SHAPE community. Good to have us here with us. So before we go on, we've talked about spirituality, we've talked about love relationship. I want to know if anyone has any question regarding any of these sections. So far, you can type it in the chat room. And while I wait for that, before we go into the last two sections and wrap up the research session, at the beginning, some of us were not here, so I want to ask this again. In last week's session, we touched on, at the beginning of the session, where we talked about values and identity and affirmations. We said it's important that you find 3 quotes or affirmations that speak very deeply to you, or that connect very deeply with you, to help you reach out for your best self. I want to know in the comment section how many of us have been able to clarify that for ourselves. How many of us were able to complete the 3 affirmations in our worksheets? Whether you typed it out on a soft version of the worksheet, or maybe a notes where you answered, or you did your resets for yourself, or you wrote it out on paper. If you've been able to clarify the 3 affirmations for yourself, can you indicate in the comment section? I want to see how many of us have actually truly engaged the manual since the last time we had the session. We have some of us here who I know were present in the last week's session. So have you been able to clarify that for yourself? What were those affirmations? Or you don't need to share the affirmations here if you don't want, but I want to know if you were able to engage in those, or engage those affirmations for yourself. How many of us were able to? While I'm waiting for our response, I will just pull up mine from my notepad and read it out to us. The very first of mine was the quote by Anne Mariam Williamson. Anne Mariam Williamson, yeah, a very beautiful quote. Now I'm going to read out mine, and I'll read that out within the next 1 minute while I wait to know if there are any of us who engage that. But I'm going to read that out because it's a very powerful quote for me. And I find that it's something that reinforces both identity, capacity, and courage for me. It's a quote by Anne Marian Williamson in her work, A Return to Love, Reflections on the Principles of A Course in Miracles. So it goes, our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine as children do. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. Every time I read this quote, I'm encouraged again. It revitalizes me, it reminds me that I'm meant to shine. I'm meant to shine as lights. And there's nothing, it doesn't serve anybody for me to play small. It doesn't serve anybody for me to shrink. It doesn't serve anybody for me to feel little, insignificant. Actually, I am talented. I am brilliant. I am gorgeous. I am fabulous. It's a very important quote for me. It's a very deep quote for me. So yeah, that's one of mine. I'm not going to share the others. That's one of mine. So for those of us who are here, were you able to clarify yours? I can see some of us have dropped from the live stream at the moment. So I'll just go on. No response from anybody regarding that. So I'll just move on. Okay, so let's move on, tackle the other two, and we'll wrap up the research sessions. I think this is going to be the last. Yeah, this will be the last of this series. To be the last of this series. And if you're just joining us and you're wondering, we're talking about the manual, the worksheet, the worksheet. What is this? It's the research worksheet. It's available on our Telegram community, and you see the link on the screen, the link to join the Telegram community. Right in the Telegram community, you'll find a copy of the research manual that you can use for your own personal research as you plan for the year 2023. It's a manual you can use not just for crossing over the year, it's a manual you can use for resetting for new seasons, new phases, or just for your personal retreats at any given point of the year where you want to take stock, and plan and launch for the next season. So it's available on our Telegram community on the screen, t.me/shape community. And it's free. It's free. That's the beautiful thing. So you can have access to that for free and have your sessions and plan. We began last week by saying that while resolutions are beautiful, New Year resolutions, a lot of people make resolutions on the euphoria of ending the year and going into a new year. And, they are all hyped and all of that. And after 1, 2, 3 weeks, some people may hold on for maybe the first 2 months of the year. But when the euphoria dies down and the motivation is lost, the grit and the willpower and the determination to pull through is no longer there. And without a strategy and a plan, it falls flat. So the reason we chose to do these research sessions is because we want to ensure that our community members at the least have a strategic document to help them adequately have. We said research is not just for planning, it's first for taking stock and being grateful. That's why the very first section of this is the gratitude section. I'm taking stock of the blessings, the victories, no matter how little, the progress, no matter how small, you've made this year. I'm being thankful for that, being thankful for the opportunities, for the resources, for the people, for the goals, for the achievements, for the progress, for the strides, no matter how little they are. And then to have a time apart outside of the noise and the din of everyday life and everything, and just take stock and acknowledge yourself, give yourself a pat, and then launch forward. So we've had the gratitude session 3 weeks ago. Last week we had the beginning part of the manual. We explored some of the sections, and today we've already explored 2 sections, and we're going to go look at 2 more sections, and we'll wrap up. We have about 7 minutes ideally to end today's session, so we'll see how much we can do within that. The good thing is that once you understand how to work on one section, it's pretty much easier to then use that to work on every other section. So we're just taking time to do this so that for each of the sections, the aspects of them that needed to better understand the questions there, we'll shed some more light on that, and then you can work on the manual at your own time, at your own pace, which hopefully will not be for weeks. All right, so let me pull my screen back and get back to the manual so that we can wrap up as quickly as we can. So we touched on parenting, and we said you can also use the parenting section for working with people who are your proteges, your mentees. If you're a mentor, if you're a trainer, if you're a coach, you can use that to x-ray the relationships of those under you who you have a personal relationship with, who you have a relationship that is akin to a parent-child relationship also. And last week we took some time to talk about the social life, the concept of the feeders and the needers. Again, if you weren't here last week, you need to go back to the video of last week to watch this, because this area was very critical. It's good stuff here, good stuff here. But we won't be able to go into that today. So just take some time to watch last week's section. And I think we touched on financial life last week. Did we? Yeah, we touched on financial life. Oh, I think we pretty much have done most of these last week. For career, okay. I think I'll just spend a little time on the career section here, because last week we touched on this, but something I want to share concerning the career section is for the career section, we didn't spend time on this last week, so that's good. So for the career section, a part of it ties to the intellectual growth section of the manual. And why that is the case is because in exploring your career section, by the time you start going through the manual to explore your career section, you will see things like the very first question: what do you wish to contribute to humanity, your community, or industry? I know for a lot of people who try to set goals for your career section, questions like this don't come up for you, because you're thinking, okay, this is what I'm doing now, or what's maybe you're looking for a promotion, all of that. But if you think more from the angle of contribution, that could help you have a broader view of what you're pursuing. That could even help you understand if perhaps what you're doing is what you want to continue in the long term, or you want to pivot into something new. And this question can then help you clarify what that something new is, what skills are required. You will see that the next question we asked after that was just straight up, what are your career goals for the next 5 years? Because we understand also that for some people, for most of us at different times, we sometimes venture into a particular job or work as a way of pivoting into something new, or as a transition while we work towards what we really want to do and all of that. So these questions will help you. But when I say it connects to your intellectual growth, is because by the time you begin to ask yourself in what areas you see growth gaps in your work, or and begin to ask yourself what skills rather may be required to improve in those areas, right? You see what we wrote here. This question can help funnel answers for the intellectual development section of this worksheet, because then when you ask yourself what skills may be required to improve in those areas, that could then give you an indication of the areas you want, the skills that you want to improve on. And if you remember in the intellectual growth section, we said part of the things we're exploring there are skills you want to improve on, right? So if in your career section, something that is very important or critical for your career growth requires a certain skill that you need to learn, that pretty much could then give you answers for your intellectual section, right? So maybe at this point in time, you want to go into a full, let me use myself as an example, you want to at some point go into a full coaching career, as it were, for example. And you may say, okay, I need to improve my communication skills, I need to improve my presentation skills, I need to improve my coaching skills, and things like that. And so that then gives you an idea, okay, if I need to improve in this area, what are the resources, what are the courses I need to take, what are the trainings I need to take? And that pretty much gives you a headway or a clarity about what it is what skill areas you can funnel into your intellectual development goals. Who are the people in the industry, role models in the industry that you look up to, you can that can help you get there, people who are doing what you want to do. What are the platforms that I can that can facilitate the acquisition of these skills? Do I need to subscribe to LinkedIn Learning Premium, to get some certifications? I need to, subscribe to Coursera, Udemy, Allison, any of whatever platform it is. Do I need to enroll for a Google certification or Harvard certification, whatever it is? Do I need to enroll for whatever it is you want to enroll for? What platforms are they available in? Or who are the role models or mentors in this industry or in this area of the industry that I want to look to? Do they have an Instagram page I can follow? Do they have a YouTube channel I can access to watch their content and learn from them? Things like that. I recently had an issue with my old Instagram account and I couldn't access it again. So I had to create a new Instagram account. And I pretty much, the people that are integral in the spaces I want to get into, I made sure I followed them. I didn't even bother to start saying, oh, this is my friend or that my friend. And I just first took some time to make sure I followed all the people in the spaces I want, people I know I consume their content on an ongoing basis, because that's pretty much important to me. And so because I want to be intentional about the information I consume from those platforms on an ongoing basis to ensure that they are helping build me or steer me in the direction of what I want to learn or the things I want to improve on or who I want to be. So you also can ask yourself those questions. Part of what I think also we are going to include in the updated version of the reset manual, is we're going to do a time audit section of this, and it's unlike what a lot of people have out there for time management. This is not a time management, as it were. Why I say that is because it's going to be a time auditing section that funnels into these different aspects. What I mean by that is, for example, some of the things you spend your time on, some of the platforms you spend your time, and all of that, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, whatever it is, time auditing there would be exploring, and I've done this for myself on a number of occasions. That's why I feel like we can do that. So how much time you spend on these platforms, how productive those times are for you. So for example, by the time you complete your manual, this is what I want to be, this is what I want to do, you can ask yourself, I've forgotten who I learned that from, but we'll pretty much do that. So it's like, let's say you spend 3 hours every day on Instagram, for example. What percentage of those 3 hours you spend actually geared towards the things you say you want to do or who you say you want to be, right? Because desire, passion is shown in pursuit. Pursuit is the proof of passion, of hunger, of desire, right? So I say I want to do this, I want to become this, I want to stay, and I'm spending a bulk of my time doing things that are unrelated and unproductive. And why this is important is sometimes we can be doing productive work, right? That is a distraction. And I'll be ending on this note because I think this is very important to share. I was reading the book Atomic Habits by James Clear, and there was a definition of distraction, and a perspective of distraction I got there that really changed my mindset around, or my perception around distraction. And I'll be using that to wrap up today. Because even before that comes out, I think if we're able to share this, that can also help you even on your own audit your time as best as you can. I can see we have some new persons here. We have Mr. Success Moko is here with us. Success is one of our very valuable and powerful community members. I may not be able to go into all of that today, but for some of us, like I said earlier, some aspects of this manual, if you feel that you need assistance and help, he is one of those persons. I know that there are certain aspects or areas of this of our life, as expressed in this manual, that if you need help in those areas, I know he's very capable mentor that can take you through some of those sections. Good to have you here with us, sir. So back to what I was saying about distraction. I just want to share this with us because it's very key and important, and then we'll be wrapping up. So I said sometimes we can be doing productive stuff that will be a distraction. Here's what I mean. And I'll use myself again as example, because I spend more time on YouTube than I spend on other on social media platforms. I could go, and this is not good, I'm trying to improve on this, but I probably could go 6-7 months without opening my Facebook or without checking my Facebook or Instagram, and I pretty much wouldn't feel like I'm missing out on anything. That's bad. took it to the extreme. I started that habit when I was learning to do what I call social media fast, to be able to um, disconnect from social media when I want to and not have wield the power over me. But I think I took it to the extreme. So, but I spend a lot of time on YouTube compared to all the other platforms because I find that more useful for me to learn and all of that. But at some point, I began to realize that as much as I could spend 2 3 hours, for example, on YouTube on a given day to listen to different things that are enriching, as it were. I could watch a 2 hour session by, like earlier today, I was watching a podcast on YouTube where Jay Shetty was interviewing Trevor Noah on an issue of a topic of identity. Beautiful stuff, amazing, learned a number of things. But in a sense, it was a distraction because that wasn't part of my plan for the day. And some of the things I had set out to do, I had to push them. They suffered. There are some things I was supposed to do today, I plan to do today, I have not done. And that was partly because I spent 2 hours watching that. Now, is it productive stuff? Yes. But is it in line with what I had set out to do? No. So the concept of distraction is actually built from, or it was actually called from the roots. Like if you deconstruct distraction, traction is when you're trying to gain traction in a certain area or in a particular thing, you're trying to build momentum towards that. You're trying to stay on that course. So traction has to do with staying on course, right? So if I wake up today and I say for the next 5 hours, I want to study this and this and that, right? I want to study something in line with, maybe I want to take a course. I'm taking a course and I say between 8 a.m. and 11 a.m. every day, I will spend 3 hours on this course. Now I start at 8 a.m. today, for example, and start on the course. I'm on track. I'm on course for what I want to do. And maybe somewhere around 8:45, 9 o'clock, I just take up my phone, open YouTube, say, let me just do something. And maybe I see one very powerful teaching by, say, Simon Sinek or, one of those people, and I begin to watch it 25 minutes, 30 minutes. Is it productive, on its own? Yes. But is it a distraction? Yes, it is a distraction. This is not in line. It is not on course with what I'm doing. And why this is very important for us to understand this concept of distraction is because activity is not always a sign of productivity. And knowledge that is disorganized can be as unproductive for us as no knowledge at all. So when you make goals and set plans, it's because you want to have a systematic way of working towards your goals and achieving what you want to achieve. If you keep letting yourself get distracted by things that seem to be productive but are not on course with where you're going or what you're trying to do, it sometimes could harm you even greater than no goals or no plans at all, because you find out that it reinforces in your mind that it's okay to go out of course with distractions that you consider productive, and pretty much you find out that you find it difficult to stay on course for the things or for the goals you want to achieve. You'll be all over the place doing so many things, achieving nothing, right? So that's very key in time auditing. Part of the reasons I shared this is because if you take time to do your time auditing, you might find that, okay, even on those platforms, I open Twitter to check this and check that. It's productive things and all of that. I open YouTube to watch this and that. It's productive. Is it productive? On its own, yes, it could be productive when channeled the right way, but is it helping you stay on course towards the goals that you want to achieve, the person you want to be, the things you want to do? That is a better measure of helping you, audit your time regarding the things that you do, so that you will know how to systematically plan and approach your goals and the things you're doing, or without being all over the place, without doing so much and achieving little. I hope that helps. I hope that helps you to understand better the concept of distraction and to better audit your time. And with that, we will be wrapping up the research session. So just before we close, a recap. 1 minute recap. Let me keep it 1 minute. 1 minute recap. First, if you're joining us for the first time, you can go to t.me/shape community. The link is on the screen now to get your reset manual. Go through the manual, get a copy of the manual. Make sure to start with the gratitude session. Make sure to start with the gratitude session and move from there to the values and identity session. Ground yourself with that and take some time to go watch the video of last week so that can help you then understand some of the things we've said today. And once you've understood how to go at one section of the manual of the worksheet, you pretty much can take that and walk through all the other sections. And finally, we said sometime within next year, maybe at the end of the first quarter of next year, before then we would have an updated version of this manual. We'll make it available on the community and would have another session, another research session that would have more deep dive sessions and questions. And we probably would have some breakout sessions and activities regarding this, right? That would be more hands-on, more interactive, and it will give us opportunities also to properly network and connect with community members. We have good stuff in plan for us for next year, amazing stuff in plan for us. Keep being posted on the community, keep being with us. You're going to have greater value for 2023 as you unleash a greater version of yourself. Thank you everyone for joining us today. I can see Coach Phil is here with us. Coach Phil kept quiet all this while. I'm with the CEO. I was closing the program. Tell me amazing session. You don't want to come and join me in the studio, Coach Phil. Good to have you here with us. Good to have you here, everyone who has stayed till the end. If you have a friend, a family member, or someone who you know needs to access this, please share this with them. At the end of this session, the link for this is going to be available on our YouTube channel. So you will see both last week's session and this session here. And that's one of the reasons we decided to start making the sessions, especially the hands-on sessions, live streams on YouTube, so that it's easier for you to come and revisit it without us having to do a lot of editing work and all of that, and it would delay and take some time. So like I said, expect more and more of these sessions for next year, and have an amazing 2023 already. Have an amazing 2023. Today I had a hangout session. I went to a tech hangout with a friend, a new friend there, and one of the things he says to me on a few occasions from time to time, he says 2023 was amazing. And I like to say that to you. 2023 was amazing. I speak that with optimism, with faith, knowing that as much as and as long as we keep being intentional, our latter days would always be greater than our former days. I want to end with the lyrics of a song. I don't know if I can remember that. The lyrics of a song by I can't remember his name now. Okay, but he said in the verse of the song, he said, "May the best of your todays be the worst of your tomorrow. And may the road less traveled be the road that you follow." And I want to say that for you, 2023 is going to be amazing. The version of you that would emerge from 2023 would be much greater than the versions of you anyone has ever experienced in the years past. And we all here are looking forward to celebrate you. I don't know about you guys, but I'm looking forward to celebrate myself in 2023 for trying new things, daring myself even more, and achieving much, much more than I have up until this point. And I'm looking out for every one of us to celebrate with us. We are looking out to celebrate everyone here in the community. Thank you for being with us today. Have an amazing weekend. I'm sure you're preparing for Christmas. Remember me on your Christmas day. Have a good night, everyone, or good afternoon or good morning, wherever you are. Have an amazing weekend. Take good care, everyone. Bye-bye.